Testing 1 2. Testing. Yeah, now it's on. Oh, so you had to check that. How come? Usually we didn't. Yeah. Good. Okay. Deep breathing. Oh, you can stay because I'm gonna go in the other room. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So you can do that again, and then switch to 42, and then do the whoop here. I'll be back. I'm gonna do 24 over there. So yeah. So I'll do about 15, 20 minutes of that. So give them a heads up. Um, okay. Hi. Okay. So this is the 24 movement modern uh, short form, Yang style. So this is actually running over there. So if you're watching, you just follow the group through the form, doing the form. So this is the breakout. I'm going to come in here, and we're going to work a little bit on some of the 24. Now, next week, I think we'll try to do uh, a bit of Zoom so we can kind of communicate to see where you are working on the 24 movement form. And if you already know the form, then we can work on some improvements. Otherwise, you can follow the group on that side during the first segment of the class. So typically, the 24 movement form is a universal form, and it starts off with part the horse's mane. Okay, so I'll shift over to here, and you start out, and the stance usually swings out like this. You toe out, and it starts off with 3 part the horse's mane. Okay, so part the horse's mane is this posture from this hold the ball position. When you step out and you lift this hand, so you have the horizontal elbow, and this hand is down flat. Okay. On the opposite side, you have a right and left side. This is my left. It would be your right if you're doing it in mirror image. Okay. followed by stork flaps wings. And it looks like that. Okay, so if you're looking from this camera, you would see the back view from there. If you're looking on this side, you would see, if the camera was switched, you would see the back side like this. So following me from the back side is the easiest way to track a form. That's actually brush, knee, and push. So brush knee is when they do the drills to take us to the rear corner and you step out, the brush knee looks like that. You toe out, you step up, and you find the back corner and step out and brush, knee, and push. Okay, so that's pretty standard. You have part the horse's mane, stork flaps wings, and brush, knee, and push. Okay, so if we were using the Zoom as a communication platform, we would have that set up over there. If you had a question on that, or did you want to back up and start from the beginning? So starting off in the form, I'm going to stand facing the mirror this way. You start off with your feet like this. Back straight. You open the stance, so shoulder width stance, and you lift the hands. This is called preparation. You drop your elbow and bend your knees. That's called sinking. Okay? Once you're in this position, we're going to head in that direction. So we would shift to hold the ball. This is checking your weight, and part the horse's mane would go in this direction. Now this is sort of a mirror image with that side camera. And you would have part the horse's mane. Okay, so that is with me facing this way. Now if I start this way, now you're going to see the back side. Okay, so we would start off like this. 1, 2, 3. Shift. Hold the ball. Step out. Part the horse's mane. Toe out. We're going to do it 3 times. Here's your right side, and here's your left side. Okay, so we'll review that again. Now we also have a camera here that you could see it on this slanted line. So if you look at the dots on the floor, you will see dots running parallel to the mirrors. And then you're going to see, if you connect the dots on the slant, that's going to be on a diagonal. So a lot of times when you go through these movements, in a space like this, you have to reference something. So the mirrors are opposite the camera. That mirror is 45 degrees to that mirror. And then we have mirrors on that side. So we also have a camera here that's going to show you how it looks on the back. So because we did part the horse's mane 3 times, we would shift and we would repeat again. 2, 3. Okay. So just remember, it's preparation, part the horse's mane. Now if I were to face this slant, now you see the dots like this. I'm going to open the stance, lift the hands, sink down, shift the weight, hold the ball. I'm going to go in that slanted direction. Now you can see from the back side that you can track the movements moving away from the camera. Okay, this is 3. This is your 3rd part the horse's mane. And we did this half step to stork flaps wings. Okay, so this is stork flaps wings. This is the position right after the part the horse's mane. So here's the image. This is kind of where the ears are. This is lower by the hip. Your left foot is in front. Most of your weight is in the back. And your toe is touching. Sometimes we go to the heel position, but this is more with the toe. So you have to pay attention not just to the hand movements, but you have to pay attention to where the feet are. Because when you're learning the Tai Chi sequence, you're trying to memorize the sequence, but then you have to also pay attention to where the hands and feet are in the postures. Otherwise, you'll get confused when you get a little further into the form. Okay, so preparation, reviewing that, it starts from feet together, shoulder width stance. That is preparation. That's a unit. 1 unit of preparation. Okay, now when we're here and we turn sort of to the oblique, it's to the corner, here's your hold the ball. Okay, so to hold the ball position, your right hand's on top, your left hand's on the bottom. And when you step out, you would raise this hand. It's your left hand. When you toe out, check your weight, step out, and go forward. Now you look at the stance. This leg straightens, this leg bends, and you go into the archery stance or the archer stance. You toe out, you check your weight. This is your empty stance or your sitting stance, and here's your third part, the horse's mane. Okay, now we have another posture after that. It's called stork flap swings. So the stork flap swings looks like this. That's your posture. So to connect the part, the horse's mane, you have to make this half step forward. Half step because you're not actually stepping through. You're only bringing it just behind your forward leg. And then when you plant that heel down, you shift. So now you're in that empty stance, or the stance that checks the weight. And we start turn to the right and then spread the hands. And this foot comes out a little bit. Okay. So if you look from the side view, part the horse, when I check my weight here and I sit back, my feet are fairly close. When I spread my hands, then I bring this foot out. Okay. So this posture is called stork flap swings. If you've been doing the Tai Chi paradigm, the Wu style stork flap swings is like this. So there's a stylistic difference with the hand positions, but if you can identify the posture and you know that it's different in the 24 and in the Wu style, then you will have, at least an understanding when you do the class, you'll be able to figure those things out. So at the same time, I don't want to do too much sequence. I want to kind of identify the postures, get you to understand that. So we have preparation, part the horse's mane 3 times, stork flap swings. Now, all these names, I'll repeat them over and over again so you get familiar with the names so you can identify what these postures will look like. Okay, so, I talk about geometry of position a lot, and the reason for that is because I think it's easier for you to correlate your positions with geometric shapes. So when we go to the center line and we form the fist like this, or the hands, this is a triangle, and many times your hands are like this, like an on-guard position. This is a ready position. It's a vertical elbow. It's also called strum the lute. Okay, when we're in this part the horse's mane position, you have a half circle here. This is the circle, this is the hoop. So this is a round position, and this position is more horizontal in contrast to the vertical. So you have horizontal and you have vertical. So that gives you an idea that those are arm positions. Then you have leg positions, create stances. Then you have a torso that actually either faces front or slightly twisted to the side. I call it an oblique torso. Oblique meaning slanted to the corners. So with that, we have also a square position where the hands are pushing like this. And when the hands are down here, when we do the first movement in preparation, your hands are essentially with the arms parallel in a square position. Okay, so we're really talking about how that looks. They're parallel. They're parallel. Okay, so that would be a square position. So square, this angle between this arm and your torso is about 90 degrees. When we bring our hands together like this and the elbows are pointing down, if you see, if I turn, you would see from a side view that you actually have an angular position. So that gives you an idea that the hands in the sunline position are not extended like this. They're actually down like this. So we call this sinking the elbow, dropping the elbow. Okay? When we start the form and we're in the square arm position and you drop your elbow and press down, your knees give. Your knees give by releasing the tension and letting your body descend. So that takes you to the starting position from preparation, and then we go to this. Okay, this position. So if you look, this foot is adjacent to here, right beside it, touching with the toe. Okay, it's touching with the toe because your knees are bent. So this means that this leg is short. If you don't bend your knees, then both of them would be straight. They will be in the same position. But because we're sinking in the stance and this is sort of yielding to this, your weight is here and this is bending. So that's the leg form position. Your structure is this. This position is the hold the ball position. So it's a rounding. So we just mentioned that this is a circle and this is a circle. So this is rounded here with the palm down. This is rounded with the palm up. The two palms face each other as if they're stacked on top of each other, and you see this is the hold the ball position. Now when we step out and we shift the weight forward, the hands just go like this. So from this position, this one goes down, this one goes up. Okay. So this is just getting you familiar with what the hands do. This one rises in horizontal. This one rises in horizontal. This one sort of strokes down and separates from the front hand. Because we're here, this is here, they kind of pass each other as you go into this part the horse's main position. And then you toe out. This is called toeing out. You sit back to one weight and you pivot on the heel. So you see it's just a forward and backward movement. Toeing out is setting up for your stance position, which is checking your weight, or the toe touch position. And you bring this hand underneath and you hold the ball. We step out, heel down, lower the foot, and then the hands go up slowly till you get past the horse's mane. So then that's repeated on the opposite side. We toe out, we step up, step out, and we lift and separate the hands, and we complete the part the horse's mane. Now we shift the weight over to the forward leg and then touch down with the toe just behind the front foot. That's checking your weight. Like this. Now we switch the feet. And then we bring this hand up and it passes as you twist a little bit to the side and reset to here. Now when we reset, we want to bring this foot out a little bit. Okay, so that's stalk flaps wings. So that's about all I'll cover with the postures. And what you have to do is actually, if you can pick that up, watch it over again and then do it again. So this video is archived and it's actually streamed out so you can actually review it. What we did was preparation, some of the ideas of the geometry of the positions, the triangle, the circle or the hoop, and the square. We went over a little bit with the legs, where you kind of bend your knees as your hands go down in the square position. Then we went over what part the horse's mane is. So, so don't think about what it actually means. It's a name of a posture. So you don't have to worry about what part the horse mane actually is. But it's separating, okay? So you have part the horse's mane looking like a position like this. So just identify with the position and the name, that's all. You're just using it for recognition. So there's three of those. We start off on the left, and then we go to the right, and we go to the left. Now, I did that without any leg movement. Your goal is to kind of get the leg movement and the hand movement, and then you have the posture, right and left side posture. So you identify with that. And then we have stork flap swings. My right hand is here by the ear, or by the forehead here, and it's along the side of your head. We have this one about waist level, but it's a little bit to the front. It's not alongside here like when we did preparation or opening like that. It's actually a little bit forward, so that means this elbow is slightly curved. And we're like this, and this hand is slightly curved, so it's soft. It's not too rigid. It's there. It has a bit of, it's not rigidity, but there's sort of some tonus there. It's a position that allows there to be an integrity of position without being too lax. So that's how Tai Chi should be performed, with a little bit of energy in the position, but not stiff and not flaccid. So, you get that idea that when we're doing Tai Chi, it's kind of in between what would be extremely stiff. In fact, it's closer to center than even closer to the rigidity side. And on the soft side, it's closer to the middle again than to let it go. So that's concepts, and let's keep that in mind, and then what we'll do is we'll build off of that. So, for this month of February, this is kind of a trial to see how these classes are going to work, because typically we would do a class, you kind of watch it, and there's not much interaction, and it's not much teaching other than following the class. When I was doing the Zoom classes over the shutdowns and the pandemic, it was all toward the camera. But because we have live classes, we just really can't spend all the time talking to a camera. We have to actually divide our attention, and most of it goes to the live classes. Although they're small, we still have to, favor the people that are here. And, obviously they're coming and they're working live, and, that's what supports this space so that we can actually do this. So, but I want to blend that with people that are actually not here, that are members that are not completely ready to come back. So hopefully this format's going to work. So you'll get 20 minutes to 25 minutes of some interaction, depending on how the class is going, and the Zoom session will be scheduled simultaneously, but obviously I can only be here and in front of the Zoom camera, at separate times. But the audio, which is what we're trying to get squared away, will work exactly the same, but we'll have to switch because of the two platforms actually can't do it simultaneously working with that audio. We have to switch from one to the other. So anyways, on that note, we're going back in the other room so you can follow us there. They're actually working on the 42 movement, and sometimes they work on the 45 movement Wu style competition form. So, it might be interesting for you. You can just join us on the other side. So I'll see you there. All right, so we're going back. So, yeah. Oh, they could hear it there. Oh, so you have to lower there. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna come back. form, and it's got some stylistic differences, um, but essentially you can recognize it because the grassless sparrow's tail, brush knee, they're all essentially all the same. The sequence is a little bit different. One of the big differences in this form is that there's no sit back when we step. There's not a lot of shifting. It's more direct. So that's really something you have to get used to. And um, there's a bit of turning. There's a lot more leaning in it, and there's a lot tighter movements where this arm stays closer to your torso. So we talk about opening and closing, rising and falling. Well, closing, we think of this, right? Closing, when you bring your hands down like toward your legs, is closing. When your hands go like this. So it appears to be a little bit more elongated than what you're used to. So, it's called framework of form. Framework of your form can be large, medium, or small. The small framework is actually much more effective for application. It's quicker, it's smaller, it's more, you know, um, it's more efficient. So that's why we use the small frame for application. The big frame, like the Yang style or an even Yang, Wu style has the big frame one. They do it's called the Shanghai Wu style. They do a larger frame movement, and large frame movements actually looks more aesthetically pleasing because you see the lines, they look bigger. But they're not good for application because there's a lot of extension, so that leaves you pretty open. So you wouldn't use that one as well. But do that would say no, that's not true. So there's a different schools of thought. All right, so let's go. So we start off here. Then we fold and turn. Then we step up. We go down. And we turn. Sit back and turn to the oblique single whip. Now here, you notice the elbow's a little bit longer than what you're used to. Then we sit. This scoops down, and then it crosses, and then you sit back. This is the slant. This is an oblique position. Okay. Then we go up, down, and this is stork flaps wings. And then we drop the elbows. So there's your parallel position. Now we're going to go like this, and we stroke out and push. Stay in that forward leg, step through, and push. Come up and push. Shift your weight, step up. And that's your strum the lute and form the fist. Then you go down and cross. Then we're going to do another brush knee, oblique brush knee push, and then grasp the sparrow's tail, left side. Then you sink back. Now we're going to push to that wall, straight to that wall, right to 90 degrees that wall. So because when we hook, and we bring this foot to here, then we slide out like this. We're in the back corner, oblique single whip. See, so that's what we have to measure out. We go right to the corner, and then we're going to turn and go to downward posture. So how do we turn? We take our right foot and aim it toward the front, that side mirror. So we have to turn like this, and then swing this arm around and this leg around. Then come back, go down, scoot up, and we go to golden cockerel, stands on one leg. Then we step down, and we do another one. Now the left palm faces out, The other hand goes to the waist. We cover and we'll repulse the monkey. Now you notice when we repulse the monkey, we just scoot down. So that's stroking down, and the leg and hand go together. And then sit back, insert the needle, step forward to fan through the back. Now we turn, parry and punch, and the hand ends up here. Okay, then we form then we're going to step back to fist under elbow. Okay, so once we end up here, we cross over, and it's a left fist under elbow. Then the hands open. Then you go to the slant oblique position, twist your shoulder, step up, part the horse's mane. Shifts forward, part the horse's mane. Turn again. Jade Lady works shuttle. Then we turn again. Jade Lady works shuttle. And then it goes to cloud hands. But let's just pause there. See, one of the things that we have to understand is how, when you maneuver through space, how you relax and release the joints to create, especially like part the horse's mane. If we use the mirror, you could see that when we're in the fist under elbow and we turn like this, we just create this slanted position, and then we step through, and then here we are. Now if I turn my shoulder toward my hand and relax, my body ends up like this. And then you step up, and then you open again. And you open looking to this corner. Now using that same method, we step up, and we go part the horse's mane, sit back to Jade Lady work shuttle. Then when you set this hand up and put this to the shoulder, as you lean, you turn, you have to drag this foot over a little. There's your diagonal flying, sit back, or that's your part the horse's mane, and then the Jade Lady work shuttle. So that closing, you have that in the 108 movement form too. You know, when we do, say, palm strikes face, right? We hear palm strikes face, and we turn. We go through this oblique position before we do the lotus kick, right? We also, when we're in a position, say, planting punch, when we turn, when we fold, this hand comes to the center to create the parry and punch. So, like your hands are like this, or like this. It's sort of embracing your shoulder, right? So embracing the shoulders, if Rob puts his hand on my shoulder, what you're doing is this. Right? So if I do this, then I would kick. Or this, see? So that's a technique you would. But also, when he touches the shoulder, you're like this. Your shoulder is mobile, you see, so that's capturing here. And then you would just go down or whatever you have to do. But that's why you would do that. So if you're doing the movement and you're here and then you leave your arms out, then you miss that transition, right? So the transition is like this. So we have that a lot of times in part the horse's mane. And we turn, and we turn. So that's why when we do the part the horse's mane, we do silk reeling. We do a lot of twisting. But when we twist and release the tension in the joints, or take out the conflict in the movement, then when you fold, then you're going to fold, and then your arms are most effective on the inside when you're maneuvering the hand. Because when you're here, part the horse's mane, when your hand goes like this, is really coming over the top to capture and to pull. So part the horse's mane is really this, or slanting diagonally. Like this was a slanting diagonal when we came to the front. This is a slant diagonal. That's a slanting diagonal. So you see the posture. Your slant diagonal is really leaning in with the shoulder. So when you're pushing off with the shoulder, that's what a slant diagonal is. So in Tai Chi we have the four energies in grassless sparrow's tail. Ward off, roll back, press, and push. Those are the four. Then we have splitting. Right? We have pulling, plucking. Right? Then we have shoulder. Then we have separation. Then we have elbows. Let's see. So elbow is leading this way. Stroking down is leading this way. Shoulder is this way. And each one of those are actually part of the 8 energies. So those 8 movements are, sort of the concepts that you have throughout the form. Doesn't matter what style form, it's in all Tai Chi. And then the 5 directions are really forward, backward, right, left, center, and center typically is called the central equilibrium, or the balance point between the two, and how you step through and how you move. So in this, when we step, we just leave the foot there and we kind of pass through, and it's a lot straighter. So there's an extreme twist. When you twist, it really builds the flexibility in the back, right? The range of motion and the dexterity that you build in your back really becomes pretty important. So, that's just another, level of your practice. So we practice the hands. We do the leg work and the twist and the step, the forward, the back, the shift. But then what do you do with the body? You turn like this. But now this is another form. That's your twist form, right? So when you twist, when you come back and you forward and you back here, step, here, step, forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you really build, twisting, but your back, it's not because it doesn't twist, it doesn't know how to twist. But if the muscles in the back are very, not even just rigid, they're not working separately. Because in order for you to twist, this side has to pull, this side has to go the opposite way. If there's a conflict, when I say tension in the body and stiffness, that's the tension I'm talking about. Conflict and movement doesn't allow you to twist. So while we're looking at the back, what happens to the hip? Right? All of that stuff has to come into play. So, so the twisting and the spiraling gives you tremendous control of your back, tremendous control of the ligaments and the tendons and the sinews, and so everything. This is all connective tissue. So we move everything, right? We move the skeleton. What moves the skeleton is your muscles. What moves the muscles that are tied to your tendons is what moves the bones. And what creates the energy is, the resources that you have in the that molecular level, and the cellular level. You produce the energy to create the muscle contraction. But because we're using those muscles completely, not just a little piece of the muscle, it reaches to the ligaments and tendons. So what happens to the ligaments and tendons? They become much more supple than an old tendon would be. So you have to keep, and because tendons and ligaments don't have a lot of circulation, the nutrients in them is much less, the circulation. That's why when you injure them, they don't heal, or if they do heal, it takes a long time. So how do you stimulate circulation? Movement is one. Massage, pressure, and that's the only way to stimulate it. Electromyel stimulation. That's how I stimulate. So why you stimulate it? To get circulation. That's the whole purpose of it. Those electrode um, probes that they use creates an external passive type of thing to stimulate. But we're doing that just from the fact that we move. We're already producing the electricity to create the muscle contraction, and it is an electrical impulse that causes it, and that's created by the chemicals in your body. So it comes down to the scientific level of thinking, and then you know why a lot of this would work or not work, right? Say it again. The four movements. So we're here, step through one, and there's two. So you have two part the horse's mane, right? So let's try that again. So we're here, right? Here's one, here's two, there's two part the horse's mane. Actually, we should be on this side because we're going to go to that corner, and then it turns to Jade Lady Work Shuttle. Then when we sit back and turn, so we actually merged the hands by turning the body, but this hand stays here while this foot adjusts, so we can go to that corner and then do the Jade Lady Work Shuttle. And then we sit back to do cloud hands. So, yeah. So there's two part the horse's mane, and then the two that precede the Jade Lady Work Shuttle makes it like four part the horse's mane. But this set of part the horse's mane is like part of the Jade Lady Work Shuttle. So you know how when we do the Jade Lady Work Shuttle, we go vertical to horizontal to this? It's essentially the same thing. Okay, ready? Okay, bow. Hup. Okay, salute.